Good afternoon, and welcome to Spirit Speaks on the World Today. I'm Reverend Jim Webb. I'm the author of a number of books, including The Soul of Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, The 30 P's of Prosperity, Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board, and my most recent book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. I also teach, I do intuitive readings, I do counseling, I do coaching, and I channel. All of these things are spiritual gifts, and they're all on a continuum. And they arise from my 30 years, 30 plus years of intense spiritual work and 50 plus years of spiritual learning. And channeling is no big deal. Channeling is simply another point on that continuum of spiritual growth and development. And I've been doing that for over 20 years. I channel a group of beings called the Masters of Planetary Healing and Transformation. And their purpose is to help us to all transform ourselves from the fear based, guilt based, shame based beings who do not know their power to the empowered spiritual beings that we were intended to be on the earth, the light bearers and the light beings. And as they transform us, we then anchor light on the earth to transform the earth. So that's why I have been guided to do this forum live at 5 each Monday. Because the masters want us to step into our mastery at this extremely pivotal time on the earth. At this time, the earth has a choice. It has a choice to stay in the consciousness of separation and self destruction or move into the consciousness of unity. And this time is critical. So all hands are needed on deck. And that's why we do this show. You are the light workers. They will work with you, work through you, answer your questions, address any concerns or anxieties that you have so that you can continue helping the earth to heal. So I'm going to go out shortly, but before I do, I want to introduce my producer, Reverend Michael Mangus.
Well, greetings, Reverend Jim. Good to see you this evening. And I am curious to find out, Spirit speaking on the current conditions. I have found that the past sessions have been very reassuring and also very empowering on our part that we need to do our part here, which is to be the channel of the light for this time. That's why we're
Yeah,
here. So,
absolutely.
so yes, if you could, please put your questions in the comments, and as we have time, we'll go ahead and I will give them to Reverend Jim when he is channeling the masters. And that again, thanks for joining us this evening.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to go out and let Spirit do the rest. Like that lesson in the Course in Miracles, I will step back and let Spirit lead the way. It is an honor and pleasure to work with you in this way at this time. We would suggest, first of all, that you take a moment to absorb, experience, and share the energy that we would offer to you now. Just breathe. Just breathe. And as you breathe, and as you receive the healing rays of love from the source of all love, just breathe and let this in. Breathe and open to the idea. I allow, I receive the healing rays of love from the source of all love. Breathe this in. I allow and receive the healing rays of love from the source of all love. I allow and receive the healing rays of love from the source of all love. And as you breathe this in, allow this energy of love to surround you, to fill you, and to be directed to any place within you where there is fear, specifically places within you where there is fear about the world situation today. Just breathe. I allow and receive the healing light of God that transforms any fear within me. Now, just breathe this in. Good. And as you feel filled, by the healing light of God that seeps into the depths of your consciousness and addresses, embraces, and transforms fear. Allow yourself to experience a new level of peace. I allow and receive the healing grace of God, that it would transform any fear within me now. Good. And now work with the idea. I allow and receive the healing love of God, that it and I share it with the world to address fear and rage. I now receive the healing light of God and share it with the world, that this light might address the world's fear and rage. I now receive the healing light of God and share it with the world, that it might address the world's fear and rage. And breathe this in. And ask yourself, what is the world I choose to see through the eyes of love? What is the world I choose to see through the eyes of love? What is the world I choose to see through the eyes of love? And allow this idea, this vision, to settle into your spirit. And take yet one more moment and hold this energy collectively. What is the world you choose to see through the eyes of love? We would offer you a mantra that you may use on an ongoing basis if you choose to continue allowing yourself to vibrate in this energy. The world that I now choose to see is a world of peace and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of plenty and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of love and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of peace and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of plenty and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of love and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of balance and harmony. The world that I now choose to see is a world of health and harmony. We think you understand the assignment now. So take a moment and work with this yourselves. This is so important at this time. And we would explain. What you are seeing now can be very discouraging to your human eyes when seen through the lens of your experiences on the earth plane, where you have seen such division, such destruction, such pain, suffering, and struggle. So when you see the disharmony that is occurring in the world, and when you see destructive energies as you see them in the world, and as you see energies of hateful division going seemingly unchecked and normalized, we understand that this would be quite unsettling to you. And we would explain this. In order for humanity to see and choose and live in and be the light, humanity must examine, own, and heal its darkness. And what you are seeing at this time is you are seeing humanity seeing an outer reflection of its inner darkness, owning this darkness, and submitting it for healing. So, the way this shows up is rage. You see rage in the Middle East, destructive rage. You see rage in the Russia Ukraine situation, destructive rage. You see rage in your American political systems, destructive rage, or rage that is destructive. And we understand that you would feel very discouraged by this. But in order to choose the light, the darkness must be seen and owned and healed. So this darkness comes up now in order that a new wave of light, a new wave of love, a new wave of healing would be called forth, beckoned from source, and applied to provide a deeper, more lasting healing to the earth and to these situations. In human parlance, you've often heard this cliche, it's always darkest before the dawn. Well, the darkness that comes up now is simply a precursor to the dawn. Now, what can help to bring the dawn faster, more easily, more effortlessly, and more immediately? You. You are the bringers of the dawn. Although it is easy to surrender to despair instead of hope, although it is easy to surrender to the current tide of energy, which causes it to appear that destructive energies are surging. Your task is to keep your eye on God. Keep your heart open to God. Keep your energy as a vessel for God's grace to flow through. Be not seduced by the seductive vibration of fear, because this vibration is familiar to you and a vibration that you see all around you now and that you have struggled so to overcome. Be not seduced by this. Be held in the arms of hope. For we would tell you, no matter what it looks like on your earth now, no matter what it looks like on your earth in the next year, the light has already prevailed. The light has already prevailed. The light has already prevailed. And when you find latent layers or energies of fear or darkness coming up within you, triggered by what you see in your outer world, your task is to keep your eyes on God and to know that the light has already prevailed. The light has already prevailed. The light has already prevailed. And breathe this in. Good. And we would then open this session to any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Masters. We have Jane Batt, which is thanking myself and the channel. The question is, will the candidates' concealed health issues come to light quickly now?
We would work with this. We would work with this in the following way. The short answer is yes. Over the next 10 days or so, there will be a great effort to sow so much confusion as energetic sleight of hand to avoid this actually critical issue and to, in human terms, muddy the water. However, as what you might call the end of this month approaches, the fog will have lifted, the questions will be unanswered, and demonstrable, clear, and obvious energetic imbalances will be revealed. And as you know, energetic imbalances show up in many ways. Energetic imbalances show up in subtle ways, such as Freudian slips and psychological techniques such as projection. Imbalances show up at times in more clear ways in the form of obviously self destructive behavior or behavior that becomes increasingly unacceptable or antisocial. And imbalance shows up in human bodies. Imbalances that have festered for quite a while are showing up now due to great stress and great fear. Over the next week or so, all current attempts to smear, muddy, or obscure these imbalances will fall away and fail. And there will be many who ask the question about a certain candidate's physical, emotional, mental, intellectual, and temperamental fitness. And this question will answer itself. And we would offer an example. Recently, in what you call a debate, a certain candidate's difficulty made it clear and undeniable that the candidate perhaps did not have the stamina to complete the task as necessary in terms of running for office and serving in office. And though it remained a question, the answer became obvious to many, and different decisions were made. Now, your country has become more attuned and adept at sensing a candidate's level of fitness for the task involved. And that same clear eye will be cast on another candidate The answer will be similar, but certain energies of momentum and certain energies of ego will likely not. Now, everything is a probability, such as a weather forecast, but as we see it, it is unlikely that the candidate will be replaced at such a late hour, and the candidate's ego will thwart any attempt to do so, even though the question that has been at the back of certain voters' minds about this candidate's fitness will come to the front of certain voters' minds, and this will impact the trajectory of likelihoods. Now, it is quite likely, as we see it, that just as in your debates in a prior month, a couple of months ago, there was an obvious and very public stumble, the other candidate will likely, as we see it now, probably as we see it now, experience a an undeniable stumble. Now, this candidate has had stumbles, public stumbles already. The media has not focused upon it, and many potential voters have chosen to look away from it due to a great deal of confusion in the energetic environment. However, it is, as we see it, very likely that the candidate's internal energies of self destruction will allow and cause a very public stumble that will bring this issue to the forefront. And we see this likely in the next 10 days. And this is how we would address this issue. Is there perhaps another question?
Yes, Masters. We have Jane Bat asking, I think it was almost the same question, but she said, or she wrote, you were right that the contrast would be stark, but it seems that each day it gets more extreme and I feel scared again. May I request more encouraging words? And then her next question is, as you predicted, the horse race aspect is being emphasized. May I request a more hopeful perspective?
Yes. We would work with this. We would, we sense the energy of certain journalists. And certain journalists have a sense of the direction of your domestic elections. And they feel hobbled. In other words, we are sensing certain key journalists discussing in what you call green rooms and discussing in what you call off camera or off mic conversations their sense that that a certain candidate cannot win and another candidate is likely to win. And they feel hobbled by energies that are exerting pressure on them to continue what you might call the horse race aspect of this. Be not discouraged. There are two actions you can take here. The first is to continue to work with the exercise we offered you. Create the world you want to see. And this is so important because when you get seduced by the fear of that which you find to be unpalatable, you give energy to that. And that does not serve the situation that you choose. So instead, ask yourself repeatedly, what is the world I choose to see? Ask yourself repeatedly, what is the world I choose to see? Ask yourself repeatedly, what is the world I choose to see? Now, this is so important because taking the latter approach of asking yourself what world you choose to see empowers you and keeps you from getting drawn into the quicksand of self destructive energy that the light needs you to heal. So, as you individually and as all collectively make a conscious choice to utilize the energy of God that comes to you now in fuller measure than ever before to create what this energy is designed to create, a world of love. Focus on this, not because it is toxic positivity, as your ego would taunt you into believing, or because it is denial, as your ego would taunt you into believing, but because it is the work of a master, and you are the master who has been given this task. You see, a master has raised its vibrational rate to the degree that it can lift its consciousness into the highest perspective, into the realm of mastery, and work with situations from that perspective, from the perspective of mastery. We have trained so many of you in this, and we are continuing this training. And you will find it to be useful now and over the next several weeks. And this is how we would address this question. Is there perhaps another question?
Yes, there is, Masters. Don Luckett has a question. It says, could you comment on how the House and Senate elections will go and the degree to which the future president will be hamstrung with these outcomes?
We would work with this. We would transmit what we are seeing in this moment by using a visual image here. We are finding in the channel's consciousness, the channel's library, of visual images, the image of a pendulum swinging back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. As it relates to the makeup of the next Congress, there are currently rather noticeable fluctuations in Americans' sentiments in this moment. And there is still a great deal of room for surprise here. As we see it now, it is most likely, of all the probabilities, that the what you call the House of Representatives will likely be aligned with whichever individual wins the presidency. It is equally likely at this moment that the Senate is extremely close in margins similar to margins seen recently where the vice president would cast a tie breaking vote. There is slightly more weight as we see the energies in this moment that the Senate would be in opposition to the president that prevails. However, another energy that will blunt the idea that this would hamstring the president is that a certain party will want to appear to be conciliatory and cooperative in order to facilitate their re-imaging or their rebranding. And so their attempts to block certain legislation will be more muted. And these are the probabilities that we see in this moment. So, yes, your total government will be closely divided, but there will be an energy of conciliation that will help get things done, especially because as we see it, there is one party that wants to remaster its image. For it is very likely that regardless of results, they realize that Americans view that party as less able to govern in a way that is in the greatest interest of all. Now, we would reflect on one other thing here. The idea that is not imputed into polls yet is that there has been an energy of revulsion at certain candidates' blatant lies, especially and most recently regarding what you might call aid to those affected by certain earth changes or global warming effects or hurricanes. There is an undercurrent of revulsion by some. We find in the channel's consciousness the idea of a silent majority that was a phrase used in certain elections in the late 60s. And there has always been a group of voters, silent, not always reflected in polls or in public opinion, who have held sway. Now, in the situation that we describe, this group of voters, the silent majority, is in this moment feeling a sense of revulsion. They find it, and we do not use such a triggering word lightly. We use it to accurately reflect an energy that we sense. There are certain beings who are revolted by the idea that a candidate would lie so blatantly in ways that are destructive to people that the candidate wants to represent in order to what you might call score political points. We find in the channel's consciousness the word turnoff. This has turned off a flow of certain potential votes for this candidate, hobbling this candidate's ability to win. And so these voters associate this behavior not only with the candidate, but with the party that has enabled this candidate, even enabling this candidate in these destructive lies. And as a result, this party will find itself and its image and its brand tarnished beyond recognition, and will find a need to recast its brand, and therefore will use the energy of conciliation to begin that process in order that that process might be achieved quickly rather than over the course of 12 years. In other words, we are viewing likely meetings where certain party leaders say, we hear phrases, potential phrases such as, we will be in the American doghouse for the next 16 years unless we take drastic action now. And they will likely become more conciliatory to work to solve certain problems quickly and effectively in order to shorten the time necessary to recast their tarnished image. And this is an energy that we see that will support the government servicing its citizens regardless of the balances of power in the House, the Senate, and White House. Do you understand this? Good. Is there then another question?
Yes, Masters, and this is going to have to be the final question from Lorraine Johnson. She says, should we ignore the polls, and will the polls turn out to be so incorrect that it discredits polling in future elections?
We would work with this. Healing, cleansing, and transforming involves releasing. Now, there are certain tactics of elections that have been used and relied upon quite heavily that are no longer effective. And one of them is polling. And the reason that this is poised to be released is because polling has served to generate more heat than light in political campaigns. Your media follows the polls instead of the issues. Your media follows the polls instead of focusing on the the potential outcomes of certain choices. And as more light touches the planet and touches your election process, this light causes the release of poles that have now been an impediment to the healing, information, and growth necessary. So we do see that poles become more discredited. We see that shifts in technology cause polling to be more inaccurate than ever before, more destructive than ever before, more malleable in terms of supporting a narrative versus supporting the truth than ever before. So we do see the impact of polling and the reliance on polling and the focus on polling dissolving as a result of this election. Do not be distracted by polls at this time. Focus on the light and allow that light to come to you, that you might feel it, channel it through, and support the creation of the world you desire to see. And this is what we would say.
Thank you, Masters. We are out of time as far as questions go. Do you have any parting words to say to us?
In the channel's consciousness, we find a phrase. This phrase was quite popular during another era of political, energetic, spiritual change, healing, and turmoil, your civil rights era. The phrase is keep your eyes on the prize, and the prize is God. Keep your eyes on God. Keep your eyes on the light of God that comes to you to serve you. Keep your eyes on the creative energy of God that embraces you and moves through you, that can be utilized to form the world you choose to see. With your eye, your third eye, be singularly focused on light, and not seduced by the darkness that the light has come to heal. For the light has come to heal this darkness. Empower the light and not the darkness, for you are the masters that support the creation of the world you choose with God. And receive a final blessing and healing, and share it with the world. Be blessed and in God forever. Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. All
Oh,
right.
wow.
A little birdie has told me
Yeah.
that someone's having a new set of classes coming up.
Yes.
Is that true or not?
It is true. At the end of this month, I've got 2 new classes coming up. And let me preface these new classes by what is being taught through me a lot these days. What is being taught to me a lot these days is that we have evolved spiritually, energetically to the level of mastery And Spirit wants us to continue to operate on that level. So, Spirit is going to take 6 weeks and work with us in ways like we just saw to work on our collective self forgiveness, self awareness, self appreciation, self mastery, so that we can walk through life on that higher plane of mastery. And as we do so, we continue to walk in peace, we continue to walk in grace, and we more easily experience the fruits of mastery: deep peace, deep joy, deep fulfillment, a deep sense of love, a deep sense of satisfaction, and the ability to manifest easily and effortlessly. So on Monday nights, we'll be doing Spirit Speaks on Personal Mastery. That's self forgiveness, self healing, self awareness, self appreciation, and that will bring us higher up in the art, in the uh, realm of mastery. And then we're going to, on Thursday nights, we're going to learn to manifest from that perspective. You know, our egos are filled with fears and doubts. So, what will our egos manifest more likely? More fear and more doubt. Because what we have within our consciousness is what we see outside of us. But our highest self, our master self, that master self manifests not from fear or doubt, but from love, certainty, and power. So, Spirit has given me a number of different techniques and tweaks on existing techniques where we can go to our place of mastery and manifest from that perspective. And from that perspective, manifestation is easy, simple, and almost immediate. And we've had some experiences like this already with people in my classes who have gone to that place and said, wouldn't it be nice to blank? And blank then shows up within 24 hours. So that's what we're going to be doing at the end of the month. Check out my website for more information. Text me at 202-253-6009. And the reason that I ask you to do so is because I want to save you $75. Because if you pre-register, you save $75. And I also want to make sure you have a slot in the class because due to the nature of these classes, I have to limit the number of people that Spirit can work with so that everybody gets quality work from Spirit. And so I have to limit the number of people. So you want to register before the class sells out.
And from past experience, Jim's classes sell out like that. So if you are at all interested, please contact Jim ASAP. You should have contacted him 2 minutes ago. So
It's true. Save your space. I'm telling you, people be texting me. People be texting me and saying, "Please, can you save my space?" And I'll get off of this thing, and all of a sudden I'll like have 5 text messages. I want a space in your class. So
right.
he's not kidding.
No, I'm not. And another thing that, let me just get that out. All right. Another thing is that Jim's book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, is available today for only $2.99 on Amazon Kindle. So if you have not taken advantage of this, please do. It's a short read. It's around 24, 25 pages. But what's valuable in it is that there's embedded meditations there that are specific to the book. So again, the meditations are their value is a lot more than just $3. So again, Jim's new book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, is available today, $2.99 on Amazon Kindle.
All right.
Any parting words for us, sir?
I just thank you for facilitating this, Michael. God bless you. And thank those who asked questions and those who didn't ask questions but are watching. I hope and pray that you benefit from this and be the benefit to the world that you were meant to be at this time.